Hi guys, it's Yoon. So a couple days ago I asked some of my Instagram followers what they were curious about and to drop some questions for a Q&A and FAQ video. So today I will be answering your questions and I have my laptop here to make it a little bit easier for myself. So let's start with the basics. How old are you and when is your birthday? As of making this video, I am currently 19 years old, but that is going to change soon because my birthday is coming up in a couple days on February 14th. So I'm a Valentine's baby. What is your ethnicity? People always guess on this one, but in short, I am Filipino. Both of my parents are Filipino and I was born in the Philippines. But because people don't usually guess this at first, they usually go, oh, I thought you were like this other East Asian or Southeast Asian ethnicity. I decided to take a DNA test and found out that I'm mostly Filipino with some European, which does make sense because the Philippines was colonized by Spain. But even though I've received this information, I still consider myself to be full Filipino. It's the culture that surrounded me in my youth and I'm proud to be a Filipino. I think that our culture and traditions can be really colorful. So what is your favorite food? My all-time favorite food is sinigang, which is a Filipino dish. I love it, really sour with lots of kangkong. But because there's not much Filipino food around me and I don't really know how to make it, I find myself eating a lot of mapo tofu, tteokbokki, and a lot of hot pot recently. I think that these are some of my comfort foods when I'm feeling down. I also get this one really often. How tall are you? I am 167 centimeters, so that's about 5'6". Last time I went to the doctor's office. Were you raised in the Philippines or in the US? I was born and raised in the Philippines and then later came to America for schooling. In the Philippines, I was raised by my mom with a lot of help from her siblings and my grandma. I still recall a lot of fond memories. And then after living in the Philippines, my mom and I both immigrated to the US. And a good follow-up question, how do you speak English so well? I watched a lot of SpongeBob growing up because my cousin really liked SpongeBob, so I think that the majority of my English skills growing up came from watching a lot of TV. I really like shows like SpongeBob, Totally Spies, The Winx Club, Powerpuff Girls. But when my mom and I came to the US, I think that my English definitely furthered because she would drop me off at the library a lot and I would read so much. And in high school, after school, I would go to the library and wait until my mom was able to pick me up because we couldn't afford a babysitter, but I don't think it's really a bad thing because I did find a love for reading there. What are things/actions that make you happy these days? So I found that small things and small joys in life are truly what make me and bring me the most happiness in life. But I've always loved volunteer work, especially because I used to volunteer a lot. I love textured paintings, being horizontal, so like lying down at the end of the day. I love unique jewelry, so definitely stuff like this. And I love going ice skating because I used to do competitive figure skating. Alright, what kind of music do you listen to? So lately I've been listening to a lot of independent artists, so indie music. I also really like Japanese soft rock music. I love the Genshin Impact soundtrack. I just love classical music in general. I think that's what I've been listening to a lot recently. What is your MBTI? So according to Sakartova test, I am an ENFP. I used to be an ENTP in high school. ENFP means being extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceiving. What is your favorite movie genre? My favorite movie genre has to be psychological thrillers. I also really love dystopian films, just because I think the scariest thing is the human mind. And what are your hobbies and what are you passionate about? So I really like journaling. Now it's become a hobby, but figure skating. I love drawing, singing, dancing. I used to do a lot of ballet dancing when I was younger, and I did some ballet training too while I was still competitively figure skating. But other than that, I've been exploring a lot of other styles of dancing like hip hop or more urban styles of dancing. Something that I'm passionate about, I love photography, I love modeling, I just love creating images, and I think that definitely ties into my love for filmography. But I'm really passionate about the filmmaking process, so whether that's cinematography or editing or writing, love it all. So next, I've included some style and social media questions. So what are your favorite things in your wardrobe and where is your favorite place to shop? I think someone else also asked for a backstory on my favorite piece. I have this one souvenir jacket that I don't wear as often, but I used to wear more often. It's probably one of my oldest pieces in my closet just because I love the color of it, love the material. It's a pretty unique piece to have. Right here, this is what it looks like. And where is your favorite place to shop? So since coming to the US, my favorite place to shop hasn't changed, and it is the thrift store. When my mom and I first came to the US, we were really poor, so the only thing we could afford was shopping from thrift stores. But now that I'm in college, we can definitely afford to buy retail, but for me, I still prefer going to the thrift store just because I like giving clothes a new life and I love buying secondhand clothing. What would you call your style? I actually don't know what you would call my style just because I like to explore different styles. I definitely lean more towards the grunge side, but my closet, I think I can only describe it as being black and white. I prefer black and white clothing just because it's really easy to style, but I do have a couple of red pieces and a couple of pieces with some color. So I think you would call my wardrobe an achromatic wardrobe. So this was more of a social media question, but how do you want to be perceived by others? This is a tricky question because I think that you can't really control how you are perceived by others. To me, my perception of others comes from my own experience and my own knowledge, and that's how it is for everybody, I think. So how would I want to be perceived by others? The simplest way to answer this, I kind of want to be like a big sister to everybody, someone who can give you life advice, someone that you can rely on, and I want others to be able to learn from my mistakes and to also take on some of my own experiences and wisdom. Do you view your image online to be separate from your image in real life? I definitely think my image or who I am in real life holds a lot more depth than what my image is online. I've had a lot of people that I've become friends with tell me like, oh Yoon, you act totally different from what I expected you to act like in real life. I've also had people on live streams tell me that I'm a lot more personable and more approachable compared to how I look in my videos or in my photos. No matter what, my image online does have an influence on my image in real life. If you know me from my online presence first, you are going to have a bias upon first meeting me, but I don't think that this bias or first impression should influence you from getting to know me better. Next comes some career and life questions. Do you go to school, and what are you studying? If not, what do you want to do for a living? So I am currently attending college with a major in film and a focus in cinematography and editing. Despite those being my two focuses, I want to be able to study all aspects of film. I also want to be able to go into the filmmaking field for a living. When did you know that you wanted to study film, and how did you come to love photography and film? In high school, I was definitely dead set on studying chemistry and robotics for the first couple years of high school, from freshman year to I think junior year. I thought that I was going to go on the chemistry path. It was only in senior year that really changed because my love for video making came out the most during that point. So what does film mean to me? From my experience growing up and being able to learn English, being able to learn an entirely different culture just from watching TV, that's what amazes me the most about film, the fact that it is a universal language. You can convey such a message just from images and just from music. And I want to be able to convey my own feelings and my own stories through that medium. Who is your biggest creative influence right now? While I do have some favorite artists, I think that my biggest creative influence isn't a person, I think that it's life. I enjoy movies made by Mika Ninagawa or Shinji Iwai, but I think that my own life and my history has been the biggest creative influence, whether it just be going on a walk and seeing something that I really like, or going to museums, or going through a really rough time in my life and learning how to transform that into a message that I can convey for others. What are your top 3 movies and why? My top 3 movies have to be All About Lily Shushu by Shinji Iwai. Love that movie, love the soundtrack, love the cinematography. It really communicates such a raw feeling of adolescence and growing up. I also really like Helter Skelter because the set design is phenomenal on that, and the image design, the direction, you definitely know it's a Mika Ninagawa directed film because her style is just something that she completely owns. And I think my third favorite movie has to be Ex Machina. Just love how simple it is, but how much gray area it explores. And I also love themes about how technology and humanity go hand in hand and can also conflict with each other. So how do you see yourself at 40? I actually think that I have my life planned out. I think throughout my 20s and my 30s, I definitely want to be a content creator on social media. As I get into my 30s, I want to be able to push more into filmmaking and actually start writing some of my own stories. And in 30s to 40s, I want to be a part of both filmmaking and also teaching the art of filmmaking or becoming a mentor? What scares you the most? I really don't like heights. I have a big fear of heights. And lastly, what is your philosophy/main rule in life? I think I actually have a couple, but my biggest philosophy in life is to just do everything with love. With whatever it is I do, I make sure that it's intentional. I make sure that it comes from the goodness of my heart, and I make sure that it is something that genuinely spreads love. For me, love is a driving force in a lot of my decisions and reflections of my own life. So that concludes my video. I know that it's a little bit difficult to know my personality through simple photos and videos like on my Twitter, Instagram, or my TikTok. So I hope you guys got to know a little bit more about me in this video. Until next time.